All right, we're live. Holy cow. It screwed up my whole screen here. Wow, let me fix my screen here. Here we go. Hey, today's episode we're going to talk about the chatbot. So one of the questions I got in the last live stream I did was how to create chatbots. How do you go about doing so, and what are the advantages of doing so? So we're going to go through. A few I have about 5 or 6 different chatbot apps that I use, and they have different purposes, right? So what I've done is I've bought these deals for these chatbots when they're in a startup stage, and I get to create as many bots as I want, and I get to share them and sell them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you one of the bots that I like using, of many. So again, there are many types of bots that you can actually create. So just for you who don't know, I'm Dan Feliciano. I own OpX90, right? We do online Lean Six Sigma training and coaching, and we'll do it in person if you need to do it, right? We also have self-paced classes. I was also a strategy and change and business turnaround consultant, so I have a lot to do in that industry, right? So I've been bringing you videos day in and day out about how to apply Lean AI, it's AI automation, AI agents to Lean Six Sigma. It's a great place to start using those tools and understanding how to write prompts to get the results you're looking for. So I wrote in a previous video, you can check out, I wrote one about how to analyze a problem statement. And you saw how my prompt that I wrote does a fantastic job of analyzing a problem statement, right? They say a problem well defined is 99%, is 90% cured, right? We can find the results of that quickly. That's been one of the challenges. I see lousy problem statements. I also did a strategy, and I also did an app on how to do brainstorming and use a fishbone diagram to do brainstorming, right? So when we think about a fishbone diagram, an Ishikawa diagram, or brainstorming isn't necessarily wed to Lean Six Sigma, but as that structured approach, right? If we use that fishbone diagram with the traditional categories, we can make sure we get a broad perspective. And again, that's in another video that you can find on my YouTube channel or wherever you're watching from. I know I'm on Trove, I'm on Twitch, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Facebook, I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on all those sites. I'm out there on them. And in that last episode, though, let me tell you what I'm going to cover again today. I'm going to show you one of the chat bots that I use, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to create a chat bot. Now, these chat bots, when we talk about chat bots, it doesn't necessarily have to be a customer-facing one. It could also be one that you're using internally, where you have all your standard operating procedures or collateral. And if you have a ton of data, you might forget what you have in there or what the process is on how to do it or what step. I've trained my chat bot, one of my bots, on about a half a gigabyte of all the Lean Six Sigma operational excellence strategy consulting work that I've done over the years. All the slides, all the frameworks, all the methodologies, all the gotchas, right? There's a lot about Lean Six Sigma that doesn't necessarily have to be done. People say, metrics wrong, 3.4 defects per million is a travesty because it's a made up number. I got it. I got you. But still, it gives us all the tools and techniques and all the calculations that you need there. You might have a different knowledge system that you want to use of all this data that you've gathered over the years, and you want to have it in one place to help you answer questions. So that's a great use of it, is to put all your data in it. And of course, you can restrict access to it. Now, in many of these chatbots, you can train it on your own data and then have it go to use one of the large language models like OpenAI's model or Anthropic's Claude or Google Gemini or Llama by Facebook or NVIDIA's new model. You can train them to use those. You can have them go out there and get more recent data and update it, and you can control that. So there's a lot that you can do there. Some of the chatbot, I know everyone's concerned. Oh my God, if I put anything in a chatbot, Google's going to crawl it and everyone's going to know your secrets. I doubt that you have many secrets that are unique to your organization. And just think about it. Your employees, that disgruntled employee can walk out with all that data just as easily as a chatbot can. So I think we need to get over that, right? I mean, when you think about these chatbots and its ability to answer questions, just think about what it can do to government workers, right? I mean, government work, right? Where people are just rules-based driven and things like that. AI agents are going to take all that over. There's no reason why the government can't get rid of 20% of their workforce, given the new AI bots and the agents that exist out there. Before we do that, what I'm going to do before we do this is I'm actually going back to take a look and go back to the last session I did where I showed you a strategy bot that I have. And in that last video, someone contacted me and said, "Hey, Dan, you were sharing the wrong screen in the live stream. So we didn't see what your strategy bot looked like, and we didn't see what that output was that it generated." So let me just take a step back. We're going to look at the strategy bot, and it's trained on all these strategic methods that I use, and I have it laid out in a specific order for this industry. It's going to go through a very specific way of generating data and using that data for the next iteration of analysis that it's doing. So I have it really structured well, and the results are fantastic, right? This bot is really helpful, mostly for, I think, consultants. I've been around a lot of consultants and a lot of consulting firms. They all say they do strategy work, and I've seen very few that actually do strategy work and actually do strategic assessment. And you might be one of those, right? You're out there saying, "I'm a strategic thinker. I know how to do strategy." I guarantee you, if you see the results of my bot, you're going to be, maybe not so much. So let me do this. Let me share the screen with you, and we're just going to quickly take a look at at the strategy bot and how we can use that strategy bot. So what I'm doing here is you should see that I'm actually sharing that screen right now. You can see that screen, and it's the ultimate strategy bot, right? So you can come down here, and this again is basically a chat bot that has been trained on a ton of strategy work and the framework, what I consider the best framework to develop do a strategic assessment of an industry. So you can come down here. I think the website is strategygpt.opex90.com. Again, these bots and a lot of these things, you can brand them on your own domain, and you come in here and you can use that strategy bot. I'm obviously on the wrong screen. Let me get to the actual screen. Let me hide that screen. We're going to come back and I'm going to take you to the actual screen where I can input the data and run this actual bot. So we're actually going to, I'm sharing the screen here, and this is called the Ultimate Strategy GPT. It is if I showed you the prompt, it's not like develop a strategy, let's do strategic assessment for this industry. It goes through tons of stuff. So here's what I'm going to do. We're going to analyze the outsourced health claims processing industry in the United States. You see down here at the very bottom, folks? That's all you have to do. Just enter that in there. If you hit that little go button, this strategy bot is now going out and it's analyzing this industry. For this model, I believe I'm using ChatGPT, the most recent ChatGPT 4.0, the 4.0, which is one of their latest models. But you can see how it's generating all this output. Now, this output here is being generated. It's for people that have already been in the industry. So you can see there's bullet points. Now, for most people, even those of you who are claiming my company does strategy work, you can take each of these outputs that are being generated, and as you take that output, you can ask it to go into more detail. So look at this. This is the output here. Look how long this output is, and it's not even done yet, right? It says it will tell you when it's done. The strategy tokens can't handle it, right? So I'm maxing out what it can do, right, with all my analysis and my prompt. All I do is hit continue, and it's going to continue running this strategy bot. Don't worry, I'm going to show you how simple it is using different apps. And it's a lot of people don't want to bother learning the apps and stuff like that, and I get that. So here you can see it hiccuped on me. It is not quite done yet. Oh no, there it goes. It's slow going, right? A lot of people are on the strategy bot right now, but it's a great tool to use. So if you want to create a knowledge base, and I think maybe the chatbots should be redefined as a knowledge base. What you need to do is you need to gather all the information that you want to put in that chatbot. It could be PDFs, it could be PowerPoints, it could be documents, it could be text, it can crawl websites. Now, some of the newer and upcoming apps that allow you to develop these bots don't necessarily go and you can give it a URL and it'll go to the subdirectories, and you might have to put them in one by one. But I have one that'll go 50 pages down. So you can have it go to URLs and it grabs all that information. And of course, you can have it go to ChatGPT, Claude, whatever model you want. So all these models are basically generated. So look at this. It's still not done here. It is going. So this strategy bot that I've created will create about 25 pages of a document. So it does a pestle analysis, right? It does a Porter's 5 forces model. It does a Porter's strategy assessment, right, using low cost, innovation, and stuff like that. It does a SWOT analysis. I'm going to show you everything it does and why it's so important. Imagine you're going in. Look, I got to hit continue again, right? So it's using a lot of tokens, right? It's just cranking out the data. So imagine you're a consulting firm and you're going in to do a proposal or talk to a potential client. This is where the gold is, right? Because it will tell you all about the industry, who the players are, and give you some tips of how to complete. Because you see there where it says ocean strategies, this chatbot also includes scenario planning. But in my case, I only do a 10-year look ahead instead of a 20-year look ahead. It does blue ocean strategy analysis and assessment. You saw the GE McKinsey model. You saw that pop up. So look how much data it's generating for you. All on the industry. I said the healthcare claims outsource processing industry. So, and it's still not done. It still isn't done. And so at this point right now, we're probably at a good 25. We're probably at a good 25 pages of analysis that this Stratbots has actually done. So this is, you can see it's still going through. Oh, it does the Delta model analysis. So I have the Delta model analysis in here as well. And then it tells you to track them. So let's go back to the very top here. You can see it started with a segmentation analysis. Give me the segmentation analysis of the people in this marketplace, the product type, the end users, and the geographic segmentation, and the psychographics of the people buying this product or service. Now, I have a different Stratbot that does a psychographics analysis that would freak you out, right? It's so interesting. It tells you what this industry is going to query for and things like that. So here's the pestle analysis. It describes what a pestle analysis is, and then it goes through, and I have it given us a minimum of 3 factors for each segmentation, right? And again, if you know how to use ChatGPT, you can just say, hey, give me more information about the political environment in that pestle analysis and make a narrative out of it. It will blow it out for you. So here's that pestle analysis, and then it gives you an industry assessment. Here it's doing the Porter's 5 forces analysis, right? Everyone knows what the 5 forces are, right? Your strategy consultant or your operations improvements, threat of entrance, the bargaining power of suppliers, bargaining power of buyers, threat of substitute products and services, industry rivalry, right? And then it gives you another little assessment. Then it does a SWOT analysis about the industry. And then it does scenario planning, which is a 10-year look ahead. I have it programmed to be very futuristic about what we're going to see in 10 years. I personally believe that we've really underestimated the benefit of the impact of AI. And then it has factors for consideration, right? Economic conditions changing, regulatory shifts. It does the GE McKinsey model for you, that breakout, industry attractiveness, what's the growth rate, profitability conditions, and so on. So you can see this is blue ocean strategy, right? The 4 actions, right? What to eliminate, what to reduce, what to raise, what to create. 3 tiers of your non-customers and how to find those customers and talk to those customers. The 6 paths framework built in. Look at that. That is beautiful. Looking across the buyer chains. So for strategy, for people that are selling strategy work or trying to bring on a new customer, this is a great way to assess their market. Here's the Porter's generic analysis. And like I said, this report is it does a VUCA analysis. It's about 25 pages long. There's the delta analysis. So that's just that. But this is built with a chatbot, right? So I trained it on the data that I have, and that's what we're talking about. We're going to talk more about creating a Stratbot. So I used the data that I have, and then I wrote a detailed prompt condition saying, here are the inputs that I require, and here is the expected outputs, right? And the outputs were the analysis that I wanted to do. And then in that analysis, I also included step-by-step, how to perform that analysis. So just think about what this does for you. If you're going out and hiring a company, let's say you own your own company, and you wanted to do a strategic assessment, right? You really want to be strategic, right? A lot of people confuse goal setting with being strategic, right? Strategic, we're doing a whole market assessment, we're understanding the industry, and we're going to look for that area where we're going to complete. So a lot of folks, they'll say they're strategists and stuff like that. What they've done, what they might do well is actually set up goals. You might use the OGSM, objective goal strategies measures, or goals, objective measures and targets, one of those frameworks. And then you have, of course, Hoshin planning and stuff like that. But again, I'm talking more about, my bot is more focused on doing a strategy assessment of that industry. And that's what you saw. Now, these chat bots that we're going to talk about here are bots that we can use to train on our data. So let me go ahead and do this here. Let me make sure I can share my screen. All right, there's stuff in there that I can't obviously share with you. And again, if you don't have a strategy, feel free to reach out to me if you're not sure you need a strategy bot or you want to spend the time setting them up and the best practices, because you can just set it up, but you might not get the result you're looking for. There might be a learning curve in there. So right now, this is one of the apps I use to create a bot. Right. So in here, what I did is I just came in here. It says bots. Look at all these bots I have set up in here, right? So I have all these bots set up, and I just created a new bot, not a problem. So I'm going to create a new bot. So I've already basically started it. And what I'm going to do, and all bots operate in the same manner, okay? So you get your bot, you give it a name, and then you have to provide it data, right? What data do we want to put into our bot that's going to be trained on? In this case here, we have websites. Look over here to the left, folks. You see where my little pen is? We have websites, we have files, and we have text. You can put raw text in there. So you upload these files, and it will start to train your bot. It takes a long time, right? So what a good strategy bot will train based on your data. And of course, you can give it access to the internet. So for instance, we can come in here. under websites and just click on website, and you put in the URL. And note here, this bot that I'm using here in particular, it does subpages. I believe it will only do 50 subpages. So you can go out to your favorite website, or maybe Wikipedia. You're looking at a Wikipedia page. It's going to look at that page, and it will go down 50 pages, and it's going to train that bot. Maybe you have intranet. You can train it on that, right? So you can train that data. So you can train this on a specific website, or put in your sitemap for your data, right? So that can easily be done, right? So let's do this. I don't want to do it right now because it's going to actually go through and start setting up the page. And then you can come over here under files, right? We're not done, right? We're going to click on files. We can add files to this, and look at all the different file types that you can add to this bot. Now note, in this one bot here, it's 20 megabytes per file. Now that's a pretty small file size. I have another bot that can be 256 megabytes per document. But what you can do here is now you can use your existing documentation. So let's say you have employee onboarding, and you have all this information about employee onboarding. You can upload it into the bot and have it trained, and the employees can ask questions. Now, some of the bots do a great job where they'll show you the questions that were asked and the response. And you can do two things with that. You can look at them yourself and say, oh, okay, this wasn't the right response. Or you can have the bot analyze the bot and say, oh, this question is being asked a lot. Perhaps we need more information to cover, right? So we can help you build out a frequently asked document. Or if you keep getting, explain it in greater detail, right? Those are things. And here, the files. So I just showed you website files. And of course, so files, I just showed you files. We're going to come in here and text. You can add text. This means you can custom put the data in here, your notes and things like that. You can just drop them in here. Now, what I've also done with some of the Strat bots is not only you can put the URL, but you can put transcriptions from meetings. You can put them in your document here. But a lot of these bots, including this one here, if you give it the URL, it will transcribe a YouTube video. And of course, many of these bots will integrate with other services if you have access to. So for instance, you can give it a Google Drive folder, right? So you can connect it to a Google Drive folder, and it's going to scan that folder for documentations. So creating these bots are really easy. Someone asked the question, could you include the web page? Thanks. I'm not sure what, if John's listening, if you can just, I'm not sure what web page you're asking about, but not a problem. Or just feel free to reach out to me. So you can see this is how we would go about. Once you have all your data in there, let me come back in here and just, let me get one that is, let me open up this one here. So there's an app that I use that I love, and the documentation wasn't very good for the app, right? So what I did is I went out and I found the URL that has all that documentation, right? So I'm going to come to data, and here's where all the documentation for that particular app existed. So I added all the data to it, and now I created my own chat GPT, right? Not my own chat, my own chat node. So I think it's better trained because I can train it and say, when you're providing a response, here's how I want you to present the response, and so on. So you can see, you can create these chat bots based on other apps as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be on a particular website. I have a chat bot that's trained on Robert's Rules, right? You go to these meetings and then people start breaking out the really thick Robert's Rules books, and it becomes a debate over that. So I have the Robert's Rules in my chat bot, call it a knowledge base, and we could answer the question, ask it the question on the fly, and then even and returns references. So there's no reason for you not to create a chatbot. Just think about it. You can do it for your family. Imagine taking, if you're doing what, not astronomy, what do they call that? Where you genealogy, right? You have all this genealogy documentation, right? You can create a website and stuff like that, or you can create files or put it in a different thing. But all the documents, you can drop into a strategy bot and just start asking questions. Hey, did I know anybody? Was anyone in my family in the U.S. Navy? Go Navy, like me, right? I spent 6 years in the Navy. Did anyone in my family work for GE, right? I was in the GE Master Black Belt back in the day. So there's a bunch of great things you can do with these strategy bots. They're actually knowledge bases. So I just showed you how easy it is to create a bot. This is just using one of the many apps that I have. And this was a test bot. We went in here, came in here, we set that up. I can enable live chat. I can create a subdomain. I can put it on a web page. I can put it anywhere I want to. It was really easy to come in here. You can see how to add data and connect it to another source, right? Feel free to reach out to me. I can create a chatbot for you, and for a small fee, we can put it out there. Here are the settings. I can give it a bot. Don't worry, I'm gonna eliminate this bot, so don't grab my bot ID. I can have live chat. So someone can be monitoring the page and we can be chatting live, right? So that's pretty cool. You can put limits on it. Auto retrain. This is new, right? In some of the bots, it's going to automatically every 2 weeks update that content and recrawl the pages for you in case there's been an update. Now that's kind of cool. And of course you can share it. I can make it public, and I have all this other great stuff. It gives me all the code. It knows not to share this code right now, but I can take this code and put it on a website. And then you can track the analytics. As your bots are used, you can track the analytics, and you can see what those results are and analyze those results. So on my website, if I get a frequently asked questions and I'm looking at it, and I'll download them, and I'll say, hey, is there a question that's being frequently asked that I probably need to answer better? Or I'll scroll through it and say, did they get a good answer here? Right? I'm going to just scroll through and say, what doesn't seem to be a good answer? You can just ask once you learn how to prompt, you can do all sorts of stuff. And it's going to say, this answer is kind of vague. Can you search the web for similar answers? Yep, they'll search the web and say, here's how people typically respond to this. You may want to respond like this, X, Y, and Z. So those are some of the methods and bots that you can create. So what I did for you is I showed you my strategy GPT, which is a bot, and you saw the analysis that it does, right? If you go in there and look at it and think about how much money you could save by having a strategy bot that's well trained, right? So that strategy bot I showed you, I sell that for a monthly subscription fee. But think about it. How much would it cost you to do a strategic assessment if you knew how to do one? If you had to pay someone to do one, right? And it's a beautiful, like I said, that's going to be a 25-page output. Once the data's in there, you can start answering other questions. I have an add-on to that where I can upload an existing strategy if a company has one. Most don't. I get it. And it can do an assessment and say, based on this assessment, here's where we think you might play better, right? And so that's really cool, right? There's another analytical technique for strategy that I have that actually does that gap and finds that comparison. You saw I have one for Robert's Rules. Maybe I didn't share that with you. Let me go back and open up the Robert's Rules one. All right, so I'm going to share that with you real quick. So here you can see I have the Robert's Rules. It's trained on various websites and data. You can see the data has already been trained. And I can come in here and ask it, start chatting with it. and I can turn it on. It's not live. It's for me only. I can make this live for everyone else, but I can come in here and start asking it a question about Robert's rules and their procedure, and have it look at that. I also use this. Think about this. I use this for. I live in Vermont. Whenever new legislation comes out, I grab all the documentation, all the testimonials. I have all the transcriptions, and I have it look for gaps. I have it look for contradictory information. So it's another way you can use a Stratbot as an analytical tool. John, if you're there, go ahead and ask me that other question that you had. I see John had a question and I didn't quite get the answer. Maybe you dropped off. We'll get back to you. Just email me. You can just email me and we'll see what's going on there. So that's it. I just wanted to cover how to create a chatbot. I said Lean Six Sigma AI because I think in the Lean Six Sigma world, there's going to be a huge benefit to this, right? I mean, as a master black belt, I don't think everyone needs to know, exactly what, or get hung up on how do I do a Poisson distribution again? What F value is if I'm looking for a p-value 0.05? What's the F net? Those kind of questions. It's like having a master black belt standing over your shoulder. My bot is trained on my master black belt content in different methodologies and strategy. So it's really helpful in that sense. It's trained on change management. I even have it trained on a certain organization's negotiation tactics, if you will. So those are some of the things you can do for Stratbot. So again, I'm Dan Feliciano from OpEx 90, right? We do online Lean Six Sigma training and coaching. Of course, I have to include, I've been working with these AI bots for a few years now. I was an early tester, beta tester. I'm still beta testing other apps. I'm teaching. Part of my curriculum is you have to know how to use Chat, GPT, Claude, Gemini, whichever one it is. You need to learn how to write good prompts so that it can help you. I think these bots, the way, especially like my Lean Six Sigma bot, my strategy bot, is going to make sure that, think about it as error proofing. People say, oh, but bots can make mistakes. So can humans, right? Bots aren't emotional, but humans are, right? So I think a bot will add more consistency to your work. So again, I have online Lean Six Sigma training and coaching and all that good stuff. I do strategy work. I have that bot. If you're really into doing a strategic assessment and you're not sure really how to go with it or how to do it or what those next levels are and how to do a good a blue ocean strategy assessment, if you will, I can help you out with that, of course. And then I have that training. And then I also have bots galore that I can help set up. If you're not interested in setting it up, my team can set up your bots and train them for you and use them for you and give you access to it. I have a different set of bots, not the one I just showed you, but another set of bots that can, you can go in there and look at it and goof around and screw it up if you want to, and then we'll fix it for you. And remember, these bots also have live mode on them. It can ask you a question. It can set up an appointment for you. They're getting better and better and better. And I'm developing a set of agents, operational excellence and AI agents that are just mind blowing about these bots. So I want to thank you, John. I'm sorry I didn't get, I didn't answer your question. I'm not sure what page you were thinking about. Maybe you were thinking about, let me grab this URL here. I'm going to pop it in here. Maybe you were thinking about, I think you were thinking about the strategy bot. It's strategy GPT at opex90.com. I think that's what you were talking about. So maybe that's the page you were looking for. All right, folks, that's it. Dan Feliciano, OpEx 90. Thank you for your time. Give me an idea of what else you'd like to see. Someone mentioned, hey, I want to see what the chat bot and how easy it is to set up a chat bot. I think the next one I'm going to do is on business process management for service industries. I have a 6-phased approach that's easy peasy. If you're in the government, if you're in the public sector and you're worried about DOGE, right, the Department of Government Efficiency, you're going to want to watch these sessions. I'll cover each one of the 6 topics so that you make sure you have a good business process management system in place at best. All right. So have a great day. Dan Feliciano, OpEx90 and strategygpt.opex90.com. Have a great one, folks. Ciao.